What's going on, guys? Mustang Matt here, and this is a very exciting video for me. In this video I get to reveal my dream car, and I now own it. So let me get my camera flipped around, deal with some little focus issues because my camera's kind of dumb when it comes to focusing. And this is my new 2020 Mustang GT.
And you're not listening. It is your choice to make a little mockery. It won't do. Further down the line, still surrendering, trying harder to forgive you.
I got this thing about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, with 8.8 miles. One of my favorite parts about the car is the paint. I wanted the Velocity Blue, and I didn't want to settle for anything less than that. The other thing I wanted, and didn't want to settle for anything less, is a manual car. Digital dash, which I'll show you in a second. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that, especially if you're already Mustang fans. And then, obviously, I had to go with the Recaro seats. Had them before in my 2014 for those OGs that remember, and I wanted them again. So here we are. So obviously this is the normal drive mode. The little like airplane toggles down here are super cool. Regular drive mode, and then I set the My mode, but My mode uses Sport Plus. So My mode uses Sport Plus and Sport Feel steering. So Sport Plus, switch it on to track mode, totally switches the gauges again. Obviously the two here are ones that I programmed. Those are set, those stay on every screen, and you can actually, there's a few different ones to pick from. So track mode. Drag mode uses the same tack setup, and then it goes back to snow wet, which uses the normal drive mode setup, back to normal. I swapped out the shift ball. I put it's not a Velocity Blue shift ball, but it's pretty close. I mean, if you kind of look at the paint on the outside and then compare it to the shift ball, it's not perfect, but it's close. This is obviously Apple Carplay. I'm not gonna plug it in right now, but Apple Carplay was another thing I wanted because it's a really cool feature, and it's really convenient when you're driving to keep your eyes on the road, have it read you text and stuff, and super easy way to display music, and then it displays the song up here as well as part of the digital dash setup. Under the hood is the Gen 3 Coyote motor. I took the engine cover off. A lot of people do that on the 2018s, so it looks kind of messy, but the engine cover is it's a touchy subject. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm pretty indifferent, but I wanted to just take it off, and it'll make it easier to work on eventually. So obviously Gen 3 Coyote motor, 460 horsepower stock. Obviously being a track pack, or sorry, not a track pack, they don't call it that anymore, but a performance pack level 1. I have the Brembos performance pack wheels. I have a 373 rear end. Those are the big ones anyway. Obviously the Brembos are something I really wanted. The 373 rear end with the Torsen diff is something that I really wanted. Those are the two things that I wanted. That's why I got the performance pack 1, and that's why I didn't really care too much to get the performance pack 2. The second level has wider wheels. It has like a 30. It has 19 by 10.5 front and 19 by 11's rear, and it runs 305 square. Obviously I can do that later on with whatever wheel I want. I would change the wheels anyway. So like I was talking about a minute ago, if you're cool with getting a base model or a lower end model at least, and then putting your own stuff on, it's kind of what I did. The level 1 performance pack was that perfect happy medium for me, where I can take it and then, you know, do whatever I want with it later on. But I like the factory Brembos. You know, you get a good set of pads, good set of rotors, you know, .4 brake fluid, and stainless steel lines. It's about all you ever need. Also did a resonator delete, so let's get to the good stuff now. Not a cold start, just a regular start. But I did not go with the valve option, the active exhaust. So, believe it or not, I thought the car had it. When I got it, I realized it didn't. I don't really care anyway because I'm changing the exhaust very, very soon. And this is what it sounds like from the outside. Once again, I can claim the title Mustang Matte. It's been over 3 years now since I had my 2014. So I can once again claim the title Mustang Matte. I am back in a blue Mustang for the OGs that remember my first blue Mustang, and life is good. So let's move on to the driving review. What's up, guys? It's a new day, and we are now inside the car for the inside driving review part of this video. Now, I kind of went over everything before, but just quick rundown, obviously, of the interior. It's a GT Performance Pack Level 1, so I've got the gauges right here. I believe you can probably see them within the field of view. Oil pressure, PSI, and then vacuum. I have the N-Gauge tuner over here. That actually shipped. It came in after I did the other part of the video a couple days ago. So I've got it up and connected. I've got a lot more gauges on it. I've got like engine coolant temp, intake air temp, differential temp, all that kind of stuff to kind of monitor when you're driving. Obviously, I don't really need it for the street, but for for future things that I want to do with the car, it's super nice to have right up here, where I can look at it. The digital dash, obviously, it's one of my favorite parts about this car. It's something that I really wanted in a car. Manual transmission, obviously. MT82 D4. It's actually, if you're familiar with Mustangs, and specifically manual Mustangs, it's a little bit different than the older MT82. The older MT82 has a 5th gear 1-to-1 gear ratio. This one has a 4th gear 1-to-1 ratio, and then they've put different shift forks in this one as well. They're supposed to be stronger shift forks, but obviously you still get the clutch lockout issue. Recaro seats, obviously, one of my favorite parts about the car. They're so comfortable, and the 2015 and up, the S550 Recaros are a little bit different than the 14s, and they hug you a lot more. And I'm pretty small, so I fit in it. If you're a little bit of a wider frame person, then the older Recaros are actually going to be a little bit better. They're actually slightly wider, but these hug me a lot more than my 2014 did with the Recaro seats in it. It's got a longer power band than the older Mustangs. The S550 this car, bone stock, handles so much, but it's a world of difference, and it's a difference that you can't really understand until you actually drive the car. Once you drive it, you're like, oh my god, this car handles like a sports car. It doesn't handle like a big, you know, muscly car. Even though I think it's a little bit heavier, it doesn't handle like it. It doesn't handle like a big heavy car like the S197 sort of does, being solid rear axle. This car, the handling is just, I can't even put into words how much better it feels. And I can't wait to do some suspension mods to get it handling even better. It's, you know, between wider tire. Right now the tires, it's got a 255 in the front and a 275 in the rear. Obviously you make that a lot wider, lower it down, put it on the springs or coils or whatever, do some stuff to the rear end, vertical links, subframe braces, stuff like, you know, all that good stuff. This thing is going to handle, I can't wait to get it on a track and see what I can do, and especially autocross. Autocross is like the easier thing to do. It's lower speed, it's more technical, so I can't wait to see what it's going to do with that, and I really can't wait to see what it's going to do on an actual road course. The big elephant in the room with these cars, with Mustangs, specifically the manual Mustangs, is the transmissions. They are known to suck. Especially, a lot of people rag on the newer ones because the D4, supposedly they're stronger shift forks, but you still get clutch lockout issues and they still break shift forks. It feels, the stock shifter is a little sloppy. I mean, just being brutally honest here, the stock shifter is sloppy. It's nothing great. I'm about to get a part. But the stock shifter, it's not anything that feels amazing. Rear park sensor's kicking in here, but it's nothing that feels amazing. I mean, it's clunky, and you can't really hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear that on camera or not, but to where you guys can see the shifter in the frame, it's kind of a long throw. The throw feels a little bit longer than my 2014 did actually on a stock shifter. And I don't know, it's just kind of sloppy, especially once the car is moving and under load. It leaves to be desired. But with a clutch, shifter, maybe a couple other little things, maybe like a bracket or a braided clutch line, definitely takes care of some of those issues. So it's definitely fixable, but in stock form, it leaves some to be desired. So you have to spend some money to get it where you want it. And then obviously, if you want to boost and make big power, you're probably going to break the NT82. You're going to have to either get a built NT82 or swap to some sort of Tremec, a T56 or a TR6060. Overall, I love this car. I love everything about it. It's my dream car. It really is. It has every option that I wanted, and it leaves nothing to be desired for me as far as options and everything go. So it's perfect for me. So back in a blue Mustang, I'm Mustang Matt once again, and see you guys in the next video.